So the council is gonna move forward with a resolution now, and then it'll open to the public. So as I described at the last meeting, there was a draft report, based on, the number. It was, Resolution 375-2023, at the end of last year, where an investigation was authorized into the administration's policies regarding employment and those sorts of things. That investigation is now, a draft report has been provided to council. The council is going to be prepared to act tonight. The report itself. Yeah, is it not? No, we have to add it.
Add it, right. What's the number? 154.
So, resolution 154 would be a resolution censuring Mayor Tompkins and demanding his resignation based upon the findings of the council's investigative report.
Whereas the Township Council is the legislative branch of Pemberton Township and is authorized pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-36 and 37 and Section 3-37 of the Township Code to conduct a legislative inquiry or investigation, and it may require any municipal officer to prepare and submit sworn statements regarding their official duties and to otherwise investigate the conduct of any department, office, or agency of the Township. And whereas the Director of Parks and Recreation and Senior Services has filed a lawsuit alleging that Mayor Tompkins engaged in sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliatory conduct in violation of the law against discrimination, and it further asserts that at least 3 other female employees from 3 separate departments within the township have complained about Mayor Tompkins' inappropriate behavior, including one from an employee on behalf of her minor daughter. As the Township Council believes it is appropriate to conduct a legislative investigation to understand what legislative remedies or practices and policies are available to appropriately ensure that the work environment for all township employees is free of employment discriminatory conduct and practices. Whereas the Township Council adopted Resolution 375-2023 authorizing investigation into the employment practices of the Township's administration premised upon the allegations against Mayor Tompkins of sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliatory conduct by the mayor, including all township departments, regarding the work environment, employment practices, policies, and the manner in which policies are implemented by the township departments and township administration. Sorry, this goes on. Investigators reviewed a significant amount of documents supplied by the township, conducted 38 employee interviews, each lasted between 30 minutes and 2.5 hours, and compiled.
And of those 38, the amendment, the 38 employees, there's 37 employees and the interview with Mayor Tompkins.
And compiled an 18-page single-spaced report which found the following. Since taking office in January 2023, the mayor has consistently engaged in a course of workplace conduct that violates the township's anti-harassment, anti-discrimination, and anti-retaliation policies. The mayor's conduct includes, but is not limited to, serious acts of sexual harassment against a female employee, a disturbing pattern of retaliatory conduct and threats of retaliation against township employees, and inappropriate and flirtatious interactions with minor females employed by the township. 2 actions and threats of retaliation against employees who made good faith complaints against him has created a severe chilling effect among township employees. Indeed, many employees have declined to report or pursue good faith workplace complaints against the mayor due to the fear of retaliation. This widespread chilling effect has devastated employee morale, endangers the township employees, and potentially renders the township's policies and procedures ineffective. 3, when receiving complaints of workplace discrimination and or retaliation that do not involve the mayor, The township has properly followed its policies and procedures by timely investigating complaints and, if appropriate, taking remedial action. However, when receiving serious complaints of discriminatory and retaliatory conduct by the mayor, the township has deviated from the township policies and procedures by leaving it up to the complainant to decide whether the township conducts an investigation into the allegations. Given the widespread fear of retaliation by the mayor among township employees and the resulting chilling effect, the township practice of referring to the complainant as to whether to conduct an investigation is especially concerning. 4, the township should take any and all actions available to it pursuant to New Jersey law to thwart the mayor's ongoing intentional and/or reckless refusal to comply with the township's anti-harassment, anti-discrimination, and anti-retaliation workplace policies in order to provide a safe and comfortable work environment to its employees. Whereas the Township Council is concerned that the mayor's disturbing conduct has and will continue to expose the township to substantial employment, sexual harassment, hostile work environment, and retaliation claims. And whereas it is the Township Council's intent and desire to ensure the township's workplace is a safe and secure working environment free from sexual harassment, hostile work environment, and retaliatory behavior. Whereas the Township Council believes that if Mayor Tompkins was a township employee rather than an elected official, he would be immediately terminated for the behavior outlined in the investigation report. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Pemberton, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that it hereby condemns the mayor's conduct as found in the investigative report in the strongest possible terms, and that hereby censures the mayor for the conduct indicated, refers the matter to the police department and/or as county prosecutor for appropriate action, directs counsel for the township to review and redact the report to protect the confidential information of employees. And finally, demands the immediate resignation of Mayor Jack Tompkins. A certified copy of this resolution shall be provided to each of the following Honorable Jack Tompkins, Mayor. That's the resolution. Any questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
Oh, wait, Paul.
Proposed resolution, we need a motion adding this to this evening's agenda.
I'll make a motion to add resolution 154, 2024 to tonight's agenda.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Ms. McCartney? Yes. Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Detrick?
Yes. Now, is there any further discussion or questions regarding the proposed resolution, or is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve 154, 2024.
I'll second.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Ms. McCartney? Yes. Mr. Detrick?
Yes. Okay, you need to sign the book.
My name's Michael Kraus from 20 Meadowbrook Road Drive in Browns Mills.
Thank you.
I am sure the comments I'm going to make tonight from the reception I heard when we came out and made the announcement that you're going to ask Mayor Tompkins to resign. I know my comments are not going to make me popular, and to be quite honest, the way I operate my business and everything else, I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to speak my mind And you know, that's this, I know you did your due diligence, which I sincerely hope you did. I am fairly new resident of the community for about 3 years, but I got active in politics as soon as I got moved in because I was active in my previous towns. I got to meet Jack Tompkins, who I find to be an upstanding man. I worked on his campaign as long as some of the other members of council, and it was a privilege. I found him to be a very decent person, and in my wildest dreams, I cannot imagine or even begin to imagine him or anyone else sitting at this dais involved in any such actions. I know there were personality problems. Jack isn't always a polished person, but that does not make him a bad person. As far as the sexual innuendos, I have taken courses on this subject as part of the continuing education of my profession. And they have a whole list of, I guess, coordinates that have to be met before something is considered a sexual assault. Some of them, just a casual remark or passing does not constitute a sexual assault. So I hope they looked into all that when they did this. And once again, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
For Deeds, I reside at 534 Cactus Street, and I am currently employed here with Pemberton Township. I have a few questions. One, I understand that you are strongly demanding his resignation. What if he decides not to resign? I would like to know. What is the time frame? And when and if he does come to the township, are the employees going to be protected when he does come to remove his belongings? I do not wish to have anyone coming through the offices and comments or statements to be made as it has been already. So I would just like to know what steps and actions are being taken and what time frame we are looking at, and whether or not we need to be concerned when we return to work tomorrow, what that time frame is going to look like if the person does not choose to step down. Thank you.
To take that on, right?
So, these are all fair questions. New Jersey law, Mayor Tompkins is an elected official, he's elected by the voters. Council does not have the statutory.
Andrew, could you speak up a little bit?
The council does not have the statutory power to remove him from office. The people do, but the council does not, so that is why the council resolution indicates it demands his resignation. It's up to Mayor Tompkins whether he's gonna abide by that demand or not. So that is, there is a, Councilman Gardner can speak to this, but it's not easy to remove an elected official once you're elected. There is a recall provision in New Jersey law, which is a voter activity. You need a certain number of signatures, 25% of the people who voted in the last election, I think. And then if you get on a ballot, whether he would do anything or not, but since the voters put him there, it's technically, if he does not agree to resign, the voters would have to remove him from office.
25% of the registered voters of the township, which would be difficult because I don't think we get 25% of our voters out to vote in elections, let alone to sign a petition, but that would be the next step that's there.
Why is the police?
Quick story, you guys know me for my storytelling abilities. It's a good one, because everybody's gonna be involved in this one. So when I was in 9th grade, I went to my science class. We had the science teacher gave us a homework. And the homework said, you have a bottle, and you have a duck inside of a bottle, okay? Your job is to get the duck out of the bottle. However, you cannot hurt the duck in any way. You cannot break the bottle, you cannot do anything disruptive or destructive to the bottle or the duct, but you must get that duct out. So we all went home, we thought about it. Next day in class, he asked the question, what's the answers? There were all kind of answers. So now I'm sure you got the image in your head. So the answer is, and which surprised us all, he said, how do you get that duck in there? Use your imagination. So you got the duck in by imagining the duck in the bottle, and you got your duck out by imagination. So my question is, my thing is, the voters got him in, okay? So it's up to the voters to get him out, okay? I have some sheets with some procedures how to do a recall election, anybody who are interested in it. Like as stated earlier, it's 25% of the registered voters. It also takes 3 voters to start a petition. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter who, okay? And also with a 25% signature, it doesn't matter Democrats or Republican. That's the process. And if anybody's interested in it, you can find us online, you can have this, but like the duck, you got him in there, now it's up to you to get him out. Thank you.
For the Clubhouse Road. I have a question. Jennifer has a good point, and so the fall, to get 25% of the people, the voters out to vote, to rescind it, might be a hard thing to accomplish. Having said that, the township employees need some protection when he comes back. So that's gonna be really critical. And I don't know if there's anything in place, that the township has that protect the employees, because that's ultimately what has to be done. And second of all, if he does resign, under the Faulkner Act, who becomes mayor? Congratulations, Paul. Thank you.
You have 160 days to collect those signatures. It's not a lot of time. So you need 4,500 signatures in 160 days. Oh, and one more thing, if you're going to do that, you might get 5,000 votes. Once it goes to Trenton, signatures. Once it goes to Trenton, they're going to verify those signatures. So don't rely on the 45 or the 5,000. Get as much as you can.
Because when I looked up the law, it was a little different than that. So it's 25% of registered voters in this township.
Yes.
Okay. I have a number of questions, so I have to go fast.
My understanding is that about 18,000. That was correct, though, we did have more than 25% of voters.
Okay. For, did any of these employees confront the mayor about what he was doing to them? They say anything to him at all? Like tell him that they were uncomfortable, that?
I think there are many stories, and they're all over the place. Some did,
Some did and some didn't.
We've had lawsuits filed.
Okay, but
A lot of
that's still a
different
legitimate question, I just wanna know
Yeah,
if there was,
I'm
okay.
just saying, and
Yeah.
that's the
Well,
answer to some.
often, Gay, the employees, the proper procedure isn't confronting under the policy. You don't necessarily confront the individual who is your boss who's involved in that kind of behavior. There's a chain that gets broken.
No, I understand that, cause I do training,
Yeah.
and I did it when I was on council, but you can say something to the person. But anyway, past that question. Did any of the employees complain to the HR? They did. Did any of the employees file an administrative charge with EEOC?
Yes.
Or New Jersey Division of Civil Rights,
EEOC.
EEOC? Did the supervisor or administration comply with the law when this was done?
So as noted in the resolution, the report, the conclusion was is that in some instances, the policy was followed exactly correctly, and in some instances, it was not.
So what will be done to those who didn't follow the law? Cause it wasn't just Jack, it was, if people made complaints to their supervisors, so what's being done to correct their behavior if they didn't follow the law?
So we can't discuss personnel here, like people.
No, but I'm just saying, was that discussed even? Was that even considered?
So
Because if you remove Jack and put somebody else there, and this, God forbid, happens again, these people have to be held accountable also.
Yeah, the difficulty that the township faced in this instance is that you have the individual who's the ultimate person in charge by law, who's in charge with enforcing the laws of the township and the state of New Jersey, who engaged in the behavior as noted. So it's difficult for an underling of that individual to investigate him because that he could be removed. So that's the issue. It's that there's sort of like a gap in the law. So we're asking, the policy in essence is asking for an individual who reports to the mayor to conduct an investigation of the mayor, and he or she can be fired. So that is the difficulty of this particular situation.
But isn't that person, again, allowed to go to the EEOC?
The employees, sure, and in some instances, there was an investigation done by outside counsel, of allegations by certain employees. In some instances, that was done. The problem, it just wasn't followed in all situations.
So how many potential lawsuits are we looking at?
How many,
From what you're reading?
we learned, at least I learned about a lot of the allegations for the first time reading the report. I don't even think all of them had been necessarily brought up to a supervisor or anything before. We'll find out some stuff. So, if there be more out there,
There are two filed. There's a notice,
That's what we know.
there's a notice of claim. So a lawsuit hasn't been filed, there's an intention to file a third lawsuit. And, I guess it would be speculative to say how many others
No,
may
yeah.
come.
Okay.
I mean, that's up to the individual employees, how they wanna pursue their, what rights they have under the law.
How many,
Gay had asked, when it involved the minor, I'm gonna ask the question a little bit differently. I'm not talking about an investigation possibly through maybe the supervisor for that department. But when it was brought to administration, our human resources department, which to this day, I really don't know who that is, and maybe council can answer that for me. I don't know who human resources is, but I do know when it involved GW employees, investigations were done and it went through administration and things were done correctly. But I wanna know, in that particular case, was there an investigation done when it involved the minor?
it's my understanding the matter was referred to the police department and the
That's-
Rollins County prosecutor.
that's not investigated?
No, that is an option for the township to do. We have a human resources department, whether a victim comes forward or information is passed on to administration that there has been some type of harassment or sexual misconduct. Was there an investigation done in-house? Under GW employees, they've hired third-party lawyers on the township's dime, on the taxpayer dime.
Wow,
And I can only imagine what all this is gonna cost.
wow.
And I'm sitting here in a position because I'm getting word that there's a major shortfall and there could be potential layoffs for employees that I represent. So when you don't have money and you have lawsuits that we didn't have to be here today if things were handled properly, who's being held responsible? Because when I deal with matters with employees where they want to suspend them for a day or two, or they want to go into their pocketbook and make them pay for things, the same people that I deal with for stuff like that, I'm sitting here looking at probably millions. How are they gonna be held accountable? Because I know when a lowly employee like myself gets written up, gets reprimanded, I know who I'm dealing with over there. So I wanna know how this is gonna be dealt with. Jack is the mayor, he's the one who did these things, allegedly. But we have a human resource department that is here to protect the employees. So I wanna know what was being done, and were there investigations? Especially the one that I asked about when it involved the minor.
I think Paul answered the question. There were investigations done involving the minor. There was I would rather wait till the report's released to discuss a minor or investigation of a minor's complaint. I can tell you that as part of the investigation that was done through this process, there was an investigation of that incident.
I believe that, yes. And your guys,
I know
in your guys' investigation. That I believe, 100%, that's why we're here today, and I commend you guys for that. But what I'm talking about is, when a GW employee has allegations against them, whether or not administration, human resources, does an investigation on that. Was that investigation done through human resources for the minor?
There was one attempted. I'm not gonna argue with you publicly about this, Ryan.
That's fine,
Okay?
that's fine.
You may not be happy with the response, I'm sorry, but I would rather wait till the redacted report is produced and you can make whatever conclusions you want from the redacted report.
That was another question I had. Who was in charge of HR? Who was our HR department?
Well, it's an administrative issue, not a council issue, but I could tell you, just factually, I would think that it runs from the business administrator down. There's an employee, I believe, who has that title. Again, I don't wanna discuss, like, people's names publicly, but that there was an employee here.
So it is not Daniel, he's not HR, or he is?
The BA has responsibilities by statute and by code. I ultimately, like, the mayor oversees everything, the BA oversees things under the mayor, by law.
The mayor doesn't oversee, HR matters, no?
Well, by statute he does.
Oh, he
He's in
does?
charge of all personnel,
That's scary.
under the Faulkner Act.
All right, thank you, council. I appreciate the investigation. Good job.
How you doing? Tom Hughes, 1001 Evergreen Boulevard. Just have a question on who's covering the mayor's attorney fees.
The township is insured through the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund. And as of the Joint Insurance Fund procured an employment liability policy for Pemberton and all of the towns that are members. And that is an employment policy issued by AIG, the insurance company AIG, and the township is being defended through that insurance policy as we speak.
Okay, covering the lawsuit fees.
The Jeff pays the attorney's fees. We pay, what besides that? Premium. It's like you buying a policy, right? The
And not for the
township-
attorneys, I'm talking about what we're being sued for.
Yeah,
Oh, that will come out of them too?
the insurance.
Is there any
Well,
way,
excluding punitive damages, under state law, punitive damages, if sought and awarded, are not covered, by law, by the insurance company or by the public entity,
okay,
unless the punitive damages are assessed against the public.
so if he doesn't give his resignation, is there any way to keep him from showing up in the building? Because he's promoting a hostile work environment?
So that's that would be the $90, that's the $64 question. So statutorily, the mayor has certain powers, which the council has exercised all powers available to it to try to restrain that from happening. But if the mayor chooses not to abide by the council's request, absent some kind of court order that somebody obtains, like he would be permitted by law to do
In charge.
And if charges are picked up on him, would that therefore end all this?
it. Criminal charges?
Yes.
If, that's a good question also, I guess it depends what the charges are and what, if he was convicted, right? Yeah, right?
Isn't there an instance where a mayor was removed by the governor? I believe it was maybe Newark or something?
Yeah, I think they're down there. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I don't, I have to look. That was, yeah, that was like Ocean. The answer is, I don't know, we don't know the answer to that. It's obviously, if you can invoke the governor's powers to get that done, then God knows. Okay.
My name is Haley Grover and I reside at 613 Sandy Drive. Bear with me if this has already been answered. I was wondering, since there's no way to keep the mayor out of office, is he going to be supervised 24/7 when he's in office, or is he going to be allowed to walk free and allegedly do this again to anyone?
So I would say, again, the difficulty is that under state law, the mayor has the ultimate authority over employees, over property of the township, etc. So, unless he agreed to be supervised, that can, again, if he was an employee, that would then, the township can take care of this very easily. It's a unique situation, so it's not like
Yes, and so if he has power over wherever he can go and if he can be supervised or not, what's going to say that allegedly he's not going to do this again? What's going to say that the employees themselves are going to be protected and the many minors that are employed through the township?
Nobody shows up for work.
I don't know the answer to that. We're all sitting here consulting with every legal mind we can find to find out what powers the council has over the mayor. We're not entirely happy with the answers we've gotten so far. People keep pointing us toward the recall statute.
Let's say he doesn't agree to be supervised, hypothetically, what would be done for the employees that no longer feel safe at work, tend to take a leave of time? Will they be compensated at all, or will they just be out of a job because they do not feel safe within their work environment?
I would answer it's a work in progress. I mean, the council is the legislative body by law. So they make laws, the mayor administration enforces laws by law, again, by state law. So the council would have to work cooperatively with the mayor and the administration to effectuate these concerns. The council wouldn't have power to, honestly, like, if you said some employee doesn't wanna come to work, it's a concern, and I'm not minimizing the concern. I'm saying that this council would not have the legal authority to say, okay, you're gonna get paid while you're at home. That, it's an administrative issue, so that would either have to be resolved with the consent of the administration or through the court system.
The recall, it sounds like you're over and over pushing it as if you almost already know that he's going to not step down. Do you?
Well, let's just say we're planning for all contingencies.
But he hasn't said anything as if he's not going nowhere, any statements as such.
I haven't heard, I don't think anybody up here has heard any statements from him or any representatives that suggest.
It just seems like.
He hasn't seen our resolution, so maybe that'll affect his thinking.
It just seems like, Gardner seems to be very prepared to expect him to stay. Or want to stay. And everyone's concern here is what's gonna happen if he stays
Right,
and doesn't step down.
that's my concern too.
And for the person that defended the mayor when he stopped to go visit me at my stand, he's very polite, he's very, seems to be kind, but it's easy to say he didn't do anything, and he's very nice when you're a man. He's not going to sexually harass someone he's not interested in. When he was at my stand, he said something in which I just block things out because I don't want to think the worst of people. So I really don't know what he said. But then his next comment was, "Oh, I hope you didn't take that wrong because I've known, something's been said to me about sexual harassment." And I kind of took a step back. So
So that answers your question. Come on. That's what we do.
I'm just saying, I just pray that the mayor steps down and does what is right. I pray that he just faces the facts that he's been had and he has been seen for who he is. And he walks out of here with his tail between his legs and just take him out and let everyone feel safe in this community again and take him out as the position that he is holding. I ask you in Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, my name's Christine Black. I live at 421 Bayberry Street. I just want to, a lot of people have already said this. My daughter's 17, she just got a job at the lake. She's gonna be working out there. I know that we're figuring things out. Should he stay, I need to know that someone has thought all the way through to how my kid's gonna be safe when she's working her first job. I've already told her that if she had if she was at work and he showed up where she is, she's to walk away. But she's 17, she shouldn't have to live in that world. I think that as a town, we can do better for our teenagers who are employed, let alone our adult employees who have to stay in the building potentially with somebody who's refusing to leave. Given his behavior, I feel like it's entirely possible that he may decide that he's just coming to work tomorrow. And that's enough for grown-ups to deal with. It's hard enough being the mom of a teenage daughter without worrying about whether or not the mayor of the town is gonna be a problem for her. That's all. I just wanted to say that, put it in your minds, because we have to figure something out. And just one other thing, as I'm listening and realizing that the way that our township government is structured, the person at the top answers to no one. We have to figure that out. I don't know what that means, but we have to figure that out. It's not okay, obviously, that the only answer is that the person who has been the problem is the person in charge of fixing said problems. That's not obviously working. Thank you.
I just want to say that.
Name and address, please.
My name, Michelle Thorne,
And address.
24 Newton,
For the record,
Bronx Mills, New
Thank you.
Jersey.
Thank you.
No, I keep forgetting that I have to give my address.
It's your 5 minutes, go ahead.
Okay. So, before I forget, I don't know if I should say this or not, but before I forget, Mr. Bayer, I'm very sorry, sometimes I refer to you as Andrew. I'm sorry, it just slips out sometimes, but I should be saying Mr. Bayer. I know, it's been very long. Okay, now, I just wanna know if anybody has any clue, hi. Is the employees allowed to sign any kind of petition to get rid of him? I'm just wondering, is that an option?
Any registered voter of the township could sign a recall petition, if that's, I don't think they can just do a petition, hey, we don't like the mayor, get rid of him.
I understand the recall somewhat and all that, right? But I'm just talking about just the employees. Can they do a separate petition against the mayor? Just don't know, yes,
I
no?
don't think it would have any legal impact whatsoever.
Okay, that's one question. You have a report, and if I open it, how long, can I open it tomorrow? Or do I have to wait for it to become available to the public before I open it? Mr. Bear, you should know the answer to that.
You're good at this, right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, anyone can file an Oprah request at any time.
Okay,
The report the council is directed that it be redacted, right? Like personal information erased.
yeah,
So until that happens, it won't be available to the public. So, but it will be.
okay, can you give me a month, next week, 5 months from now? I mean, just somebody give me an estimate.
Week to week and a half.
Week and a half?
2 weeks, no more.
Week and a half or 2 weeks?
No more.
Okay. Week and a half, what'd you say?
It could be sooner.
Continue, Michelle.
Michelle?
I can't hear you, Valerie. Okay, alright, so, okay, here it is. Okay, one of the residents, okay, we all know who he was, Ryan Pittman, I assume. He has a simple question. Who makes up human resource team, or whoever is the human resource officer? He's asking a simple question, and I would like to know the person's name. Did Amy know that answer to that question? I would know
We don't,
if it's 2 or
Michelle,
3 people.
again, there's a lot of employees here. I mean, it's not like, it's really an administrative issue as to who serves what function.
Could you find out for me next time I come? Everybody just really wants a straight answer. Does Amy know her name or his name or?
Well, clearly, people know the person's name, but that person has rights, and I'm not sure if disclosing that at a council meeting is appropriate.
Isn't it public information though?
Well, I don't know that that's, I'm gonna go down a path I don't wanna go. Maybe, I'll review whether that's disclosable.
There's a meeting tomorrow night, maybe you can get back to us.
Maybe.
It's not just me wanting to know, it's other people too. You said that, okay, to me, it just seems like you did something illegal. Is this gonna go to court? Is there gonna be a judge review this? You say it's gonna go to police or prosecutor or both? He did something that could be illegal, doesn't he have to go on trial for that? And then
Well,
if he
it's
did something illegal and the judge says he has to go to jail for a certain amount of time for,
That's certainly not our decision, Michelle.
is it gonna go to that point?
The council does it, right, where this is a legislative body of the township, so the police and or county prosecutor's office make decisions about lodging criminal complaints. That is solely within their authority, not the council's, so that way we can't, so we don't, there are civil lawsuits pending right now.
Oh,
As we indicated before, at this point, 2 civil lawsuits. So ultimately, the facts of those cases will get adjudicated before either a jury in Mount Holly,
oh,
unless the matter is settled. A lot of civil cases settle. I mean, the township, as I indicated, the township is insured, so what the insurance company, how the insurance company handles those lawsuits is within their discretion,
okay.
whether they settle.
Miller. I prefer not to give my address out for safety. I have 2 questions.
You are a township resident here.
I am, I live in Country Lakes.
Great, thanks.
I have 2 questions. I have a daughter that is a minor that has also applied to work for the township for the summer. Are you saying that there is 0 things that we can do to keep adult employees and minor employees safe?
I think the council can consult with certain. The council can consult with certain members of, or employees within administration to figure that out. They don't, legally can't supervise, other than the clerk, Amy here, who reports to the council, and her deputy, all the other township employees report through the mayor down. So that would have to be arranged with, and that, sort of issue would have to be resolved through, somehow, through a department head or something like that. And as we're sitting here, we can't answer that question affirmatively, other than to say I'm sure the council is intent on trying to make that happen.
If harassment and intimidation and retaliation continues, what would be, that person's, would they just report it again? Would police just be called? Like, what would be their way of handling that?
Well, any employee has rights under law, like as I indicated, some employees have decided to file civil lawsuits in response. All the township can do administratively is, it has the right employment policies in effect, which is what the report concluded, and it just needs to ensure that those policies are implemented fairly and equally across the board. And that helps the township, not only does it, hopefully would help the employee, affected employee, but it would also help immunize the township from future liability claims if the complaint was handled properly. But as noted here by others on the record, this is a quite a unique situation when the individual who's allegedly done this is the one in charge and is not disciplinable technically.
You have to understand how absolutely ridiculous that sounds though, right? Like, you can do nothing besides file reports against somebody continually harassing you.
Well, if there are criminal harassment statutes, certainly any citizen has the right to go to the police and file a harassment statute. I don't know, some circumstances would warrant that, some wouldn't. And there are civil remedies in terms of lawsuits.
And honestly, the other way is if that affected employee goes to court to seek an injunction or a restraining order and get if it met the criteria, the behavior, and get a court order. That would be the other way, honestly, that might be it. But, you know.
And then my second question is, if this goes to trial, or settles, and he is found guilty, can he continue as mayor if he still has time left?
I think if it's a civil case, absolutely we can. Criminal cases might bring other penalties, but, if it's a civil state, you know, if you get sued and you had an auto accident, that doesn't mean you can't keep driving. And
So the only recourse that we have as a community is to do what you're suggesting with the voting.
That's the one solid thing we found, that's why you mentioned it a few times here.
Okay.
That's the one solid for sure thing in the law. Everything else, we're trying, figuring it out.
And he will get
Nobody's
your-
happy up here about this, but
And he will get the resolution this evening?
probably not till tomorrow will be typed up in its final form.
Okay, so I guess he'll make a decision within the next 24 to 48 hours?
I can't tell you when I'll make the decision. He has an attorney.
But he'll
he
get
may- he
the
may consult
information.
counsel.
He'll receive the information within 24 hours?
Soon.
Thank you.
It's, New Jersey statute. So basically, it'll search for NJSA 40:69A-1. It lists everything from council to mayor to employees and what we can and cannot do, and responsibilities and everything. And going through that, there's nothing that says the council can say, you gotta go.
I live at 511 Porter Street. After a quick look up, I found the HR. How come the mayor's assistant is in charge of HR, and are they not, and are they not conducting the investigations if they're the mayor's assistant?
I'll just say the report indicated that the township, in the case of employees other than the mayor, has been right on the stick on investigations. The difficulty has been with some of the allegations against the mayor in terms of, what can you do? That's been the difficulty. And we've been looking for, and hunting and consulting to figure out, what can we do?
Well, I completely understand that, but it's just kind of funny how the head of HR is also the mayor's assistant.
I think that's traditionally been the case for a long time. There's not that many employees like who aren't within the departments who are sort of town-wide. And I think that's generally how it's been had. And in a number of those instances, outside counsel was retained to conduct an investigation. Not in all of those.
I'll just say, that aspect and everything else about the Faulkner Act was not written to deal with this situation. And that's the problem we're running.
And on another note, I've heard many mothers say they have kids. I'm gonna say it like this, thank God my child does not live in this district and working for this township, because I would not feel safe with her working for the township. I have other kids who have disabilities. I don't even wanna go to township things now, because if he shows up, how do I know my kids are protected?
My name is Sharon Boston, Alex's mom. I live at 2950 Route 7. You say that the mayor is not an employee of the township, but he collects a salary from the township. So how does that not, if we pay him money from our tax money and he's paid for that position, how is he not considered an employee?
I don't get it.
Excellent question. The only answer we really have is when he's elected by the people.
Well, can that salary be cut? If he, you know,
That's a possibility.
I mean, to me, if he's not employed by the township,
Not that his salary is so great that I don't know.
and that doesn't matter, but our money still pays him. So if you're saying he's not an employee, then, you know, why couldn't that be a recourse to say, hey, we're not gonna accept this behavior?
That's one of the things we discussed.
Okay, well, I mean, that's, you know,
We hear you.
money talks.
My name is Mackenzie Scott. I live at 3407 Liberty Street in Browns Mills. I don't really have a question for you guys. I know you were getting all these questions and you're limited on, answers. So this is more of just, something to think about compared to giving an answer. I oversee the day-to-day activities at Mirror Lake, and so I am the supervisor of the miners that work there. And I guess just something extremely important to think about is, again, how we're keeping them safe, because I am a part in making sure that they have a work environment that they're comfortable showing up to. So personally, I would love any answers that you have in the future about what we can do about making them feel safe when they come to work. Yeah, that's really it, just something to think about. Not looking for an answer, but thank you.
I have a question, Mackenzie. Do you work out the schedules for everybody?
I do, yes.
'Cause I'm just thinking, it seems like, some of the, well, I'm not going to be specific, I'm sorry. Well, I think scheduling your,
Mentioned report is that the policies and procedure handbook is very detailed. Just some personal people chose not to adhere to it, but the council takes it very seriously, as well as the miners, the people in the road crew, also should be public works. No matter if you're an employee in this district, we have your back, and your back in your best interest, and safety also.
Thank you.
I think I can speak for everybody on council up here tonight. That, some of the people that brought up very good questions and comments. I hope everybody understands we're limited to what we can do or say at this point in time, right? Ongoing investigations, and I don't want to speak out of turn. What I can say is this. I've been here now about a year and a half. I have studied the Faulkner Act, the Municipal Charter Act. Mr. Baer can probably attest to it. I day in and day out. Okay, I'm not saying I'm an expert, and I'm sure as heck not a solicitor or a lawyer, but I could sit there and say that in New Jersey we have several different options to govern our municipalities. The Faulkner Act, I believe, was adopted in Pemberton Township either between 1992 or 1996. I want to say, right? Yeah, it was the 90s.
91.
91, sorry, thank you.
I think is when it started.
91, I believe that's correct. So, the Faulkner Act is the most antiquated act I've ever seen. And believe me, and I think I can, again, speak for everybody up here, if I could sit here, and just speaking of the miners at the beach, if I could go down to the beach and sit there and act as a liaison, I would, 100%, and take time away from my family and time away from my business to do that and protect everybody. But unfortunately, because of the Faulkner Act, I can't go down to the beach under the Faulkner Act and act as a liaison. I'm not allowed to. No council members are allowed to without the express written permission or consent of administration. So if administration would like to write a consent form that we can go down there and take and protect individuals, that's up to them. Unfortunately, again, like Mr. Gardner had stated, the only way we can fix anything like this, council has no powers to remove, no legislative powers to sue or anything like that. We're the legislative body. We pass laws for you as a community. I wish it was different. I really do. But as far as holding people accountable in the administration, we're very limited to such. So I would recommend to everybody to, if look into what Councilman Gardner brought up. If anybody has any questions, you go right on the county website, the County Board of Elections, and it's listed all right there. We're in a bad situation. And I would ask everybody, if you want to look at changing the municipality's way of governance, to visit your Democrat Party meetings or visit your Republican Party meetings, because it starts there. It has to be done by referendum on a ballot. And bring it back to council, and council looks at it. It's a long process, but it can be done. It's getting harder and harder. Recently, right now in the state of New Jersey, there was a report done, I believe 3 or 4 months ago, that the state is changing it again to make it harder to change the governance of your municipality. And I promised when I got elected to give everybody information as much as I possibly could as an individual on this board. And if I could help anybody do that, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is on the website. Thank you.
I just want to say that this whole situation sickens me. I was born and raised here, the best town that you could ever live in. And it's a total disgrace and embarrassment to this community. When we were in the back room, we tried to do everything in our power to end this tonight. The resolution isn't the strongest, but we got our foot on the gas pedal and we're gonna push it. And we even talked, if it means a lawsuit for us, we're willing to do. It should have never happened. And it just sickens me so much. We had let somebody embarrass us this way. And when we got sworn in, they put handcuffs on us. Can't do nothing. There's so much that we want to do, but it's the Faulkner Act, the Faulkner Act, the Faulkner Act. I can't even talk to an employee. They say hi to me, I get yelled at.